everyone, welcome to the lecture number 26 of the NPTEL lecture series on charging infrastructure, and in this lecture we will see closed loop control of 3-phase AC to DC converter. Now in the past 2-3 lectures we have seen that how this particular converter 3-phase AC to DC converter works, how we can obtain the bidirectional power flow, and we have seen that how to size different component of this particular converter. We have seen that in this converter we have 3 symmetrical half bridges and we have 3 symmetrical inductors which are connected to the 3 phase voltage source, and we assume that these are balanced 3 phase voltage source. And by changing these delta, or you can say the power angle between the Vs phasor, or you can say the source phasor, and the V converter phasor which is applied at the output of this half bridge, we can change this sign of this delta to get the bidirectional power flow, and we can also change this magnitude of this delta. That's when we can change the voltage drop across the impedance offered by the inductance corresponding to the fundamental frequency component, and from there we can easily able to control the amount of current which will be flowing through the our source. Now how we can change this delta angle? This Vs we cannot change, but we can change our this V converter which we are applying from here, and that's when we can obtain the required the performance. And we have seen how we can calculate the inductance value. So inductance value is nothing but we can calculate by using this formula. We have discussed what are the significance of individual component of this formula, and after calculating this inductance one need to ensure that the maximum drop across the inductor in the fundamental sense has to be less than 10% of the maximum voltage which is applied through the input. Otherwise what will happen is that majority of the voltage will drop across the inductor itself. Then we moved ahead, we have then derived the capacitance, how we can calculate the capacitance. Again in this particular system there is no second line harmonic component, on second line harmonic voltage ripple component on capacitor, on our output capacitance. So that is where we can when we do the power balance we are getting only the DC component at the output of this converter. However, depending upon the variation in the power or the variation in the load, one can size the capacitor such that the output voltage ripple is within the permissible limit, and this is given by this formula where this delta Pmax is one of the specification value. TD is also one of the designer choice, where designer can say what will be the response time of the closed loop control which designer will be implementing. Designer choice. Delta V naught is generally given in the specification, and this V naught is actually also given in the specification. So from that one can predict or one can calculate this minimum value of capacitance which need to be put at the output of 3 phase AC to DC converter. And then in order to size this particular capacitor bank, because we know what is the value of capacitance, but along with this we also must know what will be the current which will be RMS current which will be flowing through the capacitance. There will be high frequency RMS current at the output of this converter in the I converter. So we have to calculate the amount of RMS current which is flowing through the capacitor bank, and that will help us in designing the capacitor bank, that means designing the series parallel combination of capacitors. And this one if you see, look, this one it is this particular RMS capacitor current is independent of the switching frequency. It only depends on the modulation index M and IS peak, which is the maximum current which you can expect from the source, and that we can easily calculate by assuming the lossless converter using this particular formula. Similarly, if you take some efficiency, we can if we assume that converter is not 100% efficient, so we can say this one will be eta times 3 V phase RMS. This is again eta is the efficiency of converter of 3 phase AC DC converter. So from this one one can calculate the RMS current flowing through the capacitor, and that's when they can design the capacitor bank. Similarly, the voltage rating of the capacitance output capacitance is nothing but has to be greater than V naught plus delta V naught by 2. So that has to be greater than the maximum voltage which you can expect across the capacitor. Similarly, we have also done the RMS current calculations of the switch currents. So that's when we can choose or select our switches accordingly. Further, we have also seen what are the voltage blocking of these devices. That's when we can calculate, we can able to understand what are the voltage and current ratings of these devices, and that's when we can choose or select the required devices for realization of our 3-phase AC to DC converter. Now, after understanding the operations, after understanding the how to design the components of this converter, now let us see how we can operate this converter and ensure the required operation from this converter. Now, if you look very carefully, again here what are the control objectives we have. So, control objectives for this operation of this converter is, control objectives obviously the first, to maintain constant or maintain, or you can say to regulate the output voltage to a desired value, obviously has to be greater than the maximum voltage which you can obtain from this converter operation, and that we can know that it has to be greater than root 2 V line to line voltage. So, it has to be greater than that. So, that is if we consider the VL line to line to be 415, so that has to be greater than 565 volt. Generally they keep values at 650 or 700 volt accordingly. We also have to take the drop if we consider, so that will be somewhere around 650 volt or 700 volt. So, it has to be greater than this value, minimum value it has to be this much, and then if we consider the 10% voltage drop, overall 10% voltage drop. So, if we do that, it has to be greater than 620 or nearly about 625 volt, roughly 625 volt. So, that has to be greater than that. Generally they keep the voltage at 650 or 700 volts. So, this is our first control objective. Now, the second control objective is again keeping the constant voltage at the output. We must ensure that the current drawn from the source has to have the unity power factor. So, the current drawn, along with this there is another control objective, which is current drawn should be or should have UPF operation, or you can say unity power factor, UPF operations, and that operation has to be there in all the 3 phases, because we assume that we have the balanced 3 phase operation. So, we must ensure that all the ISA, ISB, ISC must be having the unity power factor operation. That means ISA must be having the same phase angle as that of the VAN phase angle, and ISB should be VBN phase angle, and ISC phase angle should be VCN phase angle. So, these are the two requirements we want to have, and we have studied that how we can obtain the closed loop control of single phase AC to DC converter, where we do the dual loop structure. The outer loop is the voltage loop, inner loop is the current loop, which ensure that output voltage is regulated at a desired value, and along with obtaining the unity power factor operation. But in this case, if you look very carefully, there are 3 phases. Since there are 3 phases and we have balanced 3 phase operation, That implies that at any given instance of time, my ISA plus ISB plus ISC is equals to 0. That means at any given instance of time, the summation of ISA, ISB and ISC has to be equal to 0. And if this is the scenario, then what happens is that, let us see, if I am trying to control the phase current in A phase and B phase. So, because if there is a control of A phase and B phase current, automatically the C phase current will be determined by the amount of controlling I am doing at the A phase and B phase current. And similarly, if I am doing for B and C phase, it is the current in the A phase will be determined by the controlled value at B and C phase. So, that means what it indicates that the 3 phase current quantities or 3 phase currents are dependent on each other. That means if I am trying to control the phase current A, B and C phase current will change. If I am trying to control the B phase current, C and A phase will be changing. If I am trying to control or I try to do anything in the C phase, B and A phase will be changed. So, there is no independency between the 3 phases. And now if there are no independency between the 3 phases, then how we can ensure that all the 3 phase currents are controlled and they are having the unity power factor? Because these switches S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, even if we are operating with the balanced 3 phase operation, they may not generate the voltage at the output in the same manner. So, that means if there could be some difference in the A, B, C voltages which is been applied, and also they are 120-degree phase apart from each other. So, if I am trying to control the A phase current by applying some voltage at the A phase, automatically independent of what will be my B and C phase voltages applied, there will be change in the current in order to ensure the unity power factor operation. And that is what is in order to ensure that balanced 3 phase operation. So, either thing is that this condition of balanced 3 phase operation will be avoided, or I must ensure that all the 3 phase currents are independent of each other. In that way, we can independently control all the 3 phase currents. So, and that is when we can say that we can independently apply the accordingly voltage such that these 3 currents are independent to each other, along with maintaining the balanced 3 phase operation. So, if you are making sure it is a balanced 3 phase operation, then all the 3 phase currents are dependent on each other. So, how we can make the control of these 3 currents to be independent of each other? So, to obtain that particular independency among the 3 phase quantity, we generally go from 3 phase system to the 2 phase system, and let us see how that thing makes sure that we have independency. So, now if you look very carefully this particular system, and let us assume we have, let us say this is my VAN, this is my VBN, this is my VCN, and you can say that these are the source voltages which are applied, and since they are having the balanced 3 phase operation, they are 120-degree apart from each other. Now, let us see a very simple thing where, let us say, we defined a reference frame which is nothing but there is, let us say, if you consider yourself as the reference frame and you are moving in this direction like this, and you are moving in this direction with the, let us say this is a time t, and these 3 voltages are varying in sinusoidally with respect to time. So, they are time varying quantities, and you are there as a, you are making sure that you are one of the reference frame, and you are also running with the same speed as that of this waveform. That means this waveform are actually changing its value with the time, over the time, nothing but 1 by Fs. And this time we can represent the angular speed corresponding to this is nothing but omega, which is nothing but 2 pi Fs, or you can say 2 pi by t. Now, if the reference frame which is u, if you are actually moving with the same speed omega, then what you will see? So, this omega and this omega are same. That means omega corresponds to the 50 hertz or correspond to the line cycle. Now, if you are moving along with this with the same speed as that of the time variation of this voltage signal, then you are running here in this direction with a speed omega, which is same as the variation speed of, or the speed with which this voltage is varying. And let us say you have reached to a point, let us say at this place, where you have reached a point where you have peak of A phase, where this is, you can say, omega t equal to, if we assume from here to here it is 360 degree. So, we have reached the angle 90 degree, and since all the three voltages, all the three voltages are 120 degree apart from each other, because we can write VAN is nothing but Vs peak sin omega t, VBN obviously varying with time, Vs peak sin omega t minus 120, VCN Vs peak sin omega t minus 240. So, we can say that if you are also moving with the same speed as that of that, so let us say this is your A axis. Now, this is not with respect to time. Here I am taking the space which is in a spatial domain, and let us say we have synchronized this axis in such a way that at this axis the A phase peak with respect to time has arrived. So, obviously after 120 degree in time domain, the B phase peak with respect to time will arrive. So, now we can define B axis, which is 120 degree apart from A axis, and similarly after another 120 degree your C axis will come, where C phase peak with respect to time will arrive. Let us define it as a small a b c, because your thing is 120 degree apart. And let us say you, as a reference, you are also running with the same speed as that of speed with which the voltage is varying, or the voltage is varying with time. So, after omega t equal to 90 degree, you have reached to a point where your A phase is at the peak. So, that means after the omega t equal to 90, you have reached to a point where your A phase is at peak value, which is nothing but Vs peak. Let us say this is omega t equal to 0. So, at omega t equal to 90, you have reached from here to here, you have displaced by an angle 90 degree with the same speed as that of the speed with which the voltage is varying with time. So, you have reached at this is the peak you will get along this direction. You have the Vs peak which is been applied, and at that point you will see, if this is your Vs peak, then obviously the point at which they are crossing is nothing but Vs peak by 2. Now, at that point, if we assume this, at this point you are applying the minus Vs by 2 from the B phase, and you are applying minus Vs peak by 2 from the C phase, because this is in the negative direction, in the time domain. So, from the A phase you have applied maximum value of Vs peak, and from the B phase you have applied nearly. So, you are now applying minus Vs peak by 2 from the B phase, which is minus peak by 2 from the B phase, and at the same point from the C phase you are applying the voltage, which is minus Vs peak by 2. Now, since all the three voltages you have applied, so the resultant of this will be, if you take the resultant of this, so let me draw the resultant with the red indication. The resultant will be, this will be, this is nothing but your 60 degrees, this is nothing but your 60 degrees. So, the resultant will be, if I try to find the Vs resultant, it is nothing but Vs peak in this direction it is minus Vs peak by 2. So since I have already taken the direction, I can just write down Vs peak by 2. So it is Vs peak plus this, you take the component of this, in this direction. So and see, Vs peak is already, this phasor is already in this direction. So we can write Vs peak, the component on this axis will be Vs peak plus this one, if we take Vs peak cos 60, Vs peak by 2 cos 60, and this one if we take Vs peak by 2, again this is 60, it is cos 60, and that will nothing but 3 by 2 Vs peak. So the resultant will be along the A axis nothing but 3 by 2 Vs peak, because cos 60 is 1 by 2. So this is Vs peak by 4 plus Vs peak by 4, the resultant will be 3 by 2 Vs peak. So what we got, when we moved by omega t equal to 90 degree, we are having the resultant, or you can say the resultant voltage which is be applied will be nothing but 3 by 2 Vs peak. Why? Because in the space already your B and C phases are displaced by 120 degree. Now let us try to see what will happen if we further move ahead, if that reference frame which is there is further moved ahead. So let us draw the reference frame which is U, and you are again running here with the same speed with which the voltage is also varying. This is your VAN, this is your VBN, this is your VCN, and at that place, let us say you have reached to place where you have reached at this point. At this point, this is nothing but your omega t equal to your 90 plus 120, so which is nothing but your 210 degrees. Now at that 210 degrees you have reached, here from the B phase you are applying Vs peak, from the A and C phases you are applying Vs minus Vs peak by 2. So now let us try to draw the resultant. You have A axis, you have B axis, you have C axis. Now so let us try to write down, or let us try to see what will be my resultant values which is been applied. So from the, if you look very carefully at omega t, so from here omega t equal to 0 degrees, so from here you have moved to this place which is omega t equal to 210 degrees, and at that point you are actually, you have reached along the, the axis which is aligned along the B phase, because they are 120 degree apart from each other. So at that point you are actually applying your Vs peak from B phase. From A phase and C phase you are applying minus Vs peak by 2. So let us define minus Vs peak, means here I am applying Vs peak by 2 A phase, and C phase is again minus Vs peak by 2. And if we see the resultant of this, again this is 60 degrees, this is again 60 degrees. So if we try to find the resultant of Vs, resultant if we try to define is nothing but Vs peak plus Vs peak by 2 cos 60 from B phase, Vs peak by 2 from the C phase component we are getting, and this will be nothing but again equal to 3 by 2 Vs peak. So what we have realized, the resultant will be nothing but equal to 3 by 2 Vs peak. So if we see the previous resultant, was 3 by 2 Vs peak, and it was lying along the A axis, and then you have another resultant which is lying along the B axis. So what we understood, understood that we have ABC axis, and we assume that, let us say in this space they are displaced by 120 degree. Again, how you can get displacement by 120 degrees? So we can derive the inspiration from the a machine having 3-phase windings which are 120-degree displaced from each other, and that's when you apply the voltage to it. So, the MMF which will generate will be the combined of the 3 phases, and that 3 phases will be spatially displaced by 120-degree. At the same time, from the excitation perspective, they are 120-degree displaced from each other in terms of time. So, here what we have seen, when we moved by 210 degrees, and we have assumed that there are 3 axes, A, B, C axis, which are 120-degree apart from each other, and then when we reach to the omega t equal to 210, we saw the resultant will be nothing but same value 3 by 2 Vs peak. Now, let us take, when we reach to a place where my Vcn is nothing but equal to the peak value. So, let us see what will happen. Again, let me define the reference frame, which is u, who is running at a speed omega corresponding the same speed as that of the speed with which VAN and VBN and VCN are varying with respect to time. This VAN, VBN are varying with respect to time. However, u, who is the reference, is actually varying or is actually changing its state with respect to the space, not with respect to time. So, what is happening is that at this point, let us say you have reached to this point, at this point, that means you have moved from here to here in, let us say, omega t equal to 210 plus 120 nearly equal to 330 degree. Now, at 330 degree, what is happening? You are applying from the C phase Vs peak voltage, and from the A and B phase you are applying minus Vs peak by 2. So, let us try to define. So, here we have 3 axes A, B and C, which are 120 degree apart from each other, and you are now applying from the A phase you are applying minus Vs peak by 2, from the B phase you are applying minus Vs peak by 2, and from the C phase you are actually applying Vs peak plus Vs peak. So, let us try to draw the resultant. So, this is you are applying Vs peak from the along the phase C, you are applying Vs minus Vs peak by 2, which is Vs peak by 2 in the opposite direction to that of the phase A, and you are applying from the B phase nothing but Vs peak by 2. And if you see very carefully, this will have, if this is omega t equal to 0 degree, it has you yourself have displaced by omega t equal to 330 degree, and you are making this particular angle. Then let us try to see what is the resultant. So, if we see, this is nothing but 60 degree, and if you see, this is nothing but the 60 degrees. So, that is when we can say the resultant which will be applied will be nothing but Vs peak plus Vs peak by 2 cos 60 plus Vs peak by 2 cos 60, same as the previous thing. This is the contribution from A phase, this is contribution from B phase, and this is contribution from C, and that is when the total is 3 by 2 Vs peak. So, what we have seen is that whenever a reference who is also changing in space, or you can say when the reference which is also moving with the speed same with which the voltages are varying with respect to time. So, the resultant which are been applied is nothing but having the same magnitude, and if you see the resultant in this direction, it is 3 Vs peak by 2. So, what we saw that the resultant is a vector quantity whose magnitude is nothing but 3 by 2 Vs peak in our case, and it is rotating with the speed equal to omega. I mean angular speed equal to omega, which is nothing but omega is nothing but 2 pi fs line frequency, corresponding to line frequency. Now this vector is also sometimes called as the space vector, which has magnitude and angle which varies with theta is equals to omega t in the space, and this space vector has the combined information of all the three phase quantities which are actually varying with time, and the vector is rotating in a the resultant vector is rotating in a two-dimensional space. So if we see, this is nothing but a two-dimensional space we have defined. This is x-axis, and this is y-axis. So that's when, since the vector is rotating in a two-dimensional space, in order to obtain the independent quantity, because see our aim is to obtain the independent control over the three phase currents which we have. So we have to define the independency. I mean how we can define the, how we can represent the three phase currents in a quantity which are independent of each other. So in order to obtain the independent vectors or independent component of vectors, the axis of representation, or the representative axis, you can say the representative axis has to be 90° apart from each other. What I mean by that is, if we define the two axes which are 90° apart from each other, then the component of quantity on one axis is completely independent of the quantity which is represented in the another axis. Let us see how, what I mean by that. Let us take, we have already seen, we have A axis, we have B axis, C axis, and they are displaced in a space by 120°. And we know that when we define the three phase quantities using these three axis components, these three axis components will not be independent of each other, because when there is a change in any one of the three axis components, this change will get reflected on the other two axis components, as they have non-zero projections onto each other. So in this case we will define the two axes, and we define axes in such a manner that their projections onto each other is 0. That means the component of vector on any one of the axes is completely independent of the component of vector on the other axis. Let us define that axis. Now let us define that axis to be, the two axes to be a alpha and beta axis. This is alpha axis and beta axis. And simplistic thing what we can do is, we can align this alpha along the A axis, which inherently synchronized with the peak value of A phase quantity with respect to time, and the beta axis is displaced by 90°. So when we ensure that these two axes are 90° from each other, then any resultant vector, let us say if any resultant vector, let us, since we have understood that the Vs vector is rotating in a space with the speed same as that of the omega, so we can say, we have, let us say, define this as a Vs vector, and this, and again since they are rotating in a space, we can define that Vs vector to be a space vector because they are rotating in a space. So that space vector Vs is actually, let us say, at one given instant of time, this theta is nothing but omega t. At that point we have this Vs space vector. Now if we take this Vs vector component along the alpha axis and beta axis, so we component of Vs space vector along alpha axis Vs alpha, which is somewhere here, Vs alpha, and we will define this as Vs beta. So we have Vs alpha and we have Vs beta. Now if we take any projection of Vs beta onto the Vs alpha, or if we take any projection of Vs alpha onto the beta axis, the projection is 0 because cos 90 is nothing but equal to 0. So if we take projection of Vs space vector along the alpha axis into the beta axis, so it is nothing but Vs alpha cos 90, which is 0. And if we take the projection beta axis along the alpha axis, that means Vs beta cos 90 is again 0. So that means what? If I can represent this space vector using the two axes which are 90 degree apart from each other, then the component of that vector on those axes are independent of each other. That means whenever you are changing any value in Vs alpha, there is no impact on the beta component. Let us say if you reduce the size of this alpha, let us say reduce the size of this alpha component of Vs, then your Vs beta is independent of this, because the reduction of that, if you take the projection of that reduction along the beta axis, it is 0, as cos 90 is equals to 0. So you can independently control the alpha component and beta component, and the changing of alpha component will not be changing anything on the component of beta axis, and if you are changing anything on the beta axis component, you are not going to change anything on the alpha axis component. So what we are going to do is, we will define this alpha and beta, and we represent this Vs space vector which is rotating in a space with the speed similar to that of the speed of the voltage variation with respect to time. So then we can take the component of that vector along the alpha and beta axis who are 90 degree, that means who are 90 degree apart from each other, who are actually independent of each other. So in this case, what we do is, from the A phase, B phase, C phase, we will obtain the alpha, Vs alpha and Vs beta, and then we can independently control Vs alpha and Vs beta. That is when we can get the independent control of the alpha component and beta component, and accordingly that will reflect the component on the ABC axis. Now if we look very carefully, this alpha and beta, sometimes also called as the stationary reference frame, stationary reference frame, and in this reference frame, why it is called stationary reference frame? Because we have kept this alpha and beta stationary, while the vector, space vector, which is Vs determined by Vs, is actually rotating in a space, and this space vector is the actually combines the information of A, B, C phases. And then when we take the component of this Vs vector onto the alpha axis and beta axis, and then if we control the alpha axis and beta axis, we will get the independent control on the alpha axis component and the beta axis component. That means whenever you are changing anything on the alpha axis component, there is no impact on the beta axis component, and whenever you are changing the beta axis component, there is no change on the alpha axis component. So with this, so that is nothing but the stationary reference frame, and this stationary reference frame, you can easily convert the ABC quantities into the alpha beta quantities by just doing the trigonometric, and we will see what is there in the next in the next slide. Similarly, we can also define another axis frame, and that axis frame is also 90 degree from each other. I mean, if we wanted to have the independent control, and let us define one axis frame which is such that it is a line across the space, the rotating space vector. So let us say at theta is equals to omega t, I will define my another axis frame, let us say define as the direct axis, and the perpendicular this is nothing but quadrature axis, you can say 90 degree, it is nothing but the q axis or quadrature axis. So this dq axis is nothing but r, since they are this d is always lying across the Vs space vectors, and this Vs is rotating in a space with the speed omega. So we will always, we are making sure this axis which are 90 degree, this axis dq which are 90 degree, they are also rotating along with this space vector, and that is why it is called as the rotating reference frame, sometimes also called as the synchronous rotating reference frame, because they are rotating synchronously with the speed corresponds to the line frequency. Now if we take, let us say after some time, this Vs vector will not be here after, let us say this is, let me take another example where at omega t equal to, let us say A, B, C phase, and let us define my alpha axis, my beta axis, and let me define this as Vs vector, and that vector is nothing but as at a theta 1, which is omega t1 at different time instance. Then at that time instant my rotating reference frame will be along the same direction as that of the Vs space vector. So this is D frame and this is Q frame. And if we take this vector Vs along in this direction Vs vector, then D axis will be here and Q axis will be here. So accordingly my this dq axis are also rotating with along with this space vector, and since these dq are 90 degree from each other, so they are also independent of each other. That means whenever you are doing any changes on the d component, there is no effect onto the q component, and whenever you are doing changes in the q component, there is no effect onto the d component. So that's when we can ensure that we will get the independent control if we can somehow represent the three quantities who are 120 degrees apart from each other. If we can represent the same quantity in the spatial domain and using the two axes which are 90 degree apart from each other in the space, we will get the independent control over those two axis components. That means whenever we change one component on one of the axis, there is no change on the other axis component, and vice versa. So with this we will get independent control over the operation of this particular system. Now if we have VABC phase component, how we can define the V alpha V beta component, and how we can define VD and VQ component. So if we look very carefully, if we define this Vs phasor, this one, so if we have, let us say quantity VA, VB, VC at one of the samples at one of the instant, let us say T, my sample quantity is ABC. The quantity could be either voltage or current. This is sample quantity. So these are the sample quantities. So we can define this quantity with respect to alpha beta as nothing but A to be alpha component, I mean alpha component of that quantity to be A, because it is along this axis, and B, from B, since the B it is 60 degree, and that we take the component of B along the A axis, it will be minus V by 2, whatever the quantity you are applying, minus V by 2, and then from the C phase similar 60 degree apart in the negative direction, so we will get C by 2. Similarly you can define beta to be nothing but equal to, you can define beta is to be A cos 90, the quantity along A axis in this direction cos 90, plus this B is here in this is 30 degree, so B cos 30, and this is C will be along this direction minus C cos 30, and that will define alpha to be nothing but 3A by 2, and this we can, that quantity, the beta quantity corresponds to ABC quantity will be nothing but root 3 by 2B minus root 3 by 2C. Similarly you can define the D component, you will get that alpha component you got, it is component of alpha onto the D component, which is nothing but D to be alpha cos theta, plus from beta, which is 90 minus theta, to be beta sin or cos 90 minus theta, so which is nothing but beta sin theta, and Q quantity of that alpha beta quantity to be, this is 90, this is theta, so this is beta cos theta, this beta cos theta, and alpha quantity you can take the negative, and then it is 90 minus theta, so that will be alpha minus alpha cos 90 minus theta, so that will be minus alpha sin theta. So using these three quantities you can actually represent your voltages, supply voltages, your voltages applied from the converter side and your current which is been drawn from the source. So you can define Is alpha, Is beta, ISD, ISQ. Similarly you can apply from the supply side VSD, VSQ, Vs alpha, Vs beta, and you can from the converter side you can define V converter alpha, V converter beta, V converter D, V converter Q axis component. And once you define those components you can independently control those components because they are independent of each other, as these axes are 90-degree apart from each other, and then we can control those components. So thank you. We will discuss the remaining discussion in the next lecture. Thank you.